Hey guys, another video on one of the tests that the lab owner wanted me to take. If you guys got a chance to watch the previous video, it's very informative. Probably one of the most, how do you say, like, knowledgeable people I've came across casually. Like, she's not even a real doctor or anything, and still she was able to basically, out of the blue, just give me four out of the four suggestions, and all of them happen to be like pretty much what I've recently in the couple last months tried out. Goes to show how much information these people have who are the directly positioned in the market in a way where like they're like just doing the tests. Like they're doing hundreds of tests for thyroid dysfunction, hundreds of tests for whether it be stool samples, blood samples, all this kind of stuff. And she has a lot of data that she sees of what are signs people are going through, where over time she can see that a lot of people, more and more people, are getting worse in a certain direction and whatnot. Anyways, so I was looking up how to explain this test because I don't really understand how the actual science works, but basically it was on my computer and went to a website, and it was just a static like it's the background is like a static TV screen. If you're like on a channel that it's just there's nothing showing, it's just static, and on that static certain shapes would come up, certain numbers would show up in different angles and whatnot, and I would have to do a multiple choice on what I'm seeing on the screen. And apparently based on what I see and don't see, it's able to pick up these kind of correlation based on on my left eye, what kind of things is being picked up, and then score in a certain way versus my right eye and whatnot. And it's really interesting. Another confirmation along that whole line where there's so much information looks like you can gather from how the visual, the eyes, how we look at things and what we see and don't see can always give information based on nutritional deficiency, point to different parts of the brain that has dysfunction, etc. So wanted to just kind of quickly go over a few things that came up here. So it says that in the biotoxin columns 6 and 12, CPD, column C and D, which are generally considered most relevant and suggestive for biotoxin related illnesses, you answered correctly 25 out of 36. So my score is 25, or 69%. Now, I don't understand these numbers a lot and these columns and whatnot, but I just like look at kind of what it's saying. So it says that your results suggest likely presence of biotoxins, and this could be that could have other health issues or neuropathology. And it's interesting. Some other tests are also saying I have toxins of different sorts. One of the ones I did roughly a month or two ago said that I have like very close to like high levels of mercury poisoning. So that was one that was in terms of toxins that kind of reminds me, along with what some of the things that it's saying here. Something interesting here, it says biotoxin that can affect contrast sensitivity at 6 and 12, etc., is from venom or animal, insect, or stings or bites. So this is interesting because this has came up twice in the past where two doctors have said, have I ever gotten checked out, if I have Lyme's disease, because apparently a lot of the symptoms I have, you could sometimes just get bit by a tick and you could have all these crazy symptoms. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We ruled out Lyme's disease, but it's again interesting that it's able to just like, again, just from some test I do on a multiple choice on the screen based on what I see, it can like kind of point out these kind of stuff. Now, given this is not like, this is kind of stuff I'm taking it with a grain of salt, because it's just like a little test I did. It's not like a thorough examination, particularly with a doctor or whatnot. So at least the way I'm seeing it, I'm not taking like an insane amount of like weight on it, but it's still nevertheless interesting to see how things, what things they're pointing out. And given it's been some time, I also took this test. It's not like I just took this test I took this test quite a bit before I started even the work with the doctor that I'm working with a chiropractor. So some of the stuff that I'm uploading is a little bit out of context, I mean out of order. But having that said, it still puts in layers of confirmations under a certain direction. So the way you know, I would use this data really is kind of like as we're seeing some things laid out with the doctor or other doctors that I'm seeing, and then some of these tests are in line with also what they're suggesting, those would be the angles that I would put more priority on, because then the tests are lining that way, the doctors are saying that way, you know, have multiple variables all pointing at, you know, certain answers that have a lot more weight on it, and then I would go heavy on those first. So anyways, having that said, going through a few more points that was made here. Your results suggest likely presence of biotoxins, that you could have other health issues. Well, I just read that part, didn't I? Neuropathology. Let me see. Generally scored below the average healthy test subjects. Accordingly, you should consider whether nutritional deficiencies could be affecting your health. Well, that's something we already kind of know. I'm down to 2 foods now, so there's going to be a lot of deficiency there, and you know, it can be caused by inappropriate diet, poor digestion, gut issues, impaired absorption. Okay, definitely I have that from gut issues, so that's also interesting there. If you're suffering from chronic illness, consider following an organic paleo diet. Pretty interesting that out of all diets, this just points to this diet particularly, just for chronic disease in total. I know that, you know, the paleo diet is really good. I didn't know it was particularly for chronic illness, but it is the diet that, you know, still thus far has been the most impactful, effective, that helped my health. Right, in 2019, when things were getting really bad, I switched to the AIP protocol, which is actually a which comes from the paleo diet. It's just a lot more restrictive than the paleo diet. And since then, I mean, as soon as I went on the diet, within like 10 days, 80% of my symptoms had gone down. But then since then, I have, you know, just developed different kinds of other weird health issues, which brings us to today. But nevertheless, like whenever I see this, I always, you know, basically say that this so far, if I had to say one thing is the truth and, you know, helped for sure, is this little bit of weight gain, some things with getting sleep, and just more general health things have been, you know, working. But this would be one of the only ones that, you know, was like a very particular remedy or like, you know, diet change that I made, which had a lot of effect. So, you know, overall, just wanted to make a quick video, kind of just like shining some light on some of the could say, you know, general sort of ideas that are given from this kind of test. And I'm just, you know, interested to see how the other tests break down. Some of these tests I've done in the past, and I'm going to do them again. And some of them I just did and haven't really gotten a thorough explanation of what I'm looking at by a doctor, and then maybe that's what I would get this time after I get the new version. And also what I can do is, you know, if I do similar test of one that I've done in the past, kind of like check the results, see if anything changed. So that's going to be another something that I want to start doing, is just like getting some of these certain tests over and over again to see how things are changing, especially if I'm working to fix some of those things. I think that's going to be definitely a way to see, you know, things are going in the right direction. But that being said, just wanted to make a quick video on basically going over some of this stuff. And having that said, that's it for this video.